Hello, YouTube.
Hello. Alright, so, for those of you tuning into this podcast, you'll notice that around the time of its release, we've also uploaded the God of War podcast just recently. It hasn't. I'm never expecting it to just take off, obviously, because that is just ridiculous to have that kind of expectation.
Yeah, I mean, we're not exactly the most famous YouTubers or anything like that. We're just two guys who like to make videos, and today's video is going to be an interesting one because Wolf here will be telling me about the Imperium of Man.
Yes, indeed. I have some notes here, but let's go ahead and get some administration shit out of the way first. So, I've already created the intro for the Warhammer podcast, as well as an intro for our additional podcasts. I'm going to get the usual spiel out of the way. If those tuning into this are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and then ring that bell icon to stay up to date with our uploads. If you have suggestions for future videos, drop them in the comments, and if you like the video, indicate so down below. On the note of our fame, we, according to YouTube, have hit 750 subscribers.
Hell yeah! Thank you to all of you, seriously.
So that means
that you're a bunch of idiots.
So that means we're about 6 months away from hopefully reaching the goal of 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2021.
We should do like some sort of like special video for that.
We will have to figure out something like that.
We should do like a funny moments.
I actually did start doing this thing. It's a website that I found called Incorrect Quotes Generator.
Some
of these ones are just hysterical, and I'll have to actually send you like some of the document, one of the ones that I did, because I copy pasted some of them because some of these are just fucking hysterical, and it was featuring you, me, and Phoenix.
Okay.
So, beyond that, we also should probably figure out, before we get too far into this, do we want to do the Devil May Cry podcast next?
Oh yes, Devil May Cry podcast would definitely be an interesting one to go over. But before we do Devil May Cry podcast, we need to do one more Warhammer podcast because we talked about this. We did the one we just did. Then we're gonna do the Imperium of Man, and then you said you were gonna teach me a little bit more about the Ultramarines or the Space Marines.
Ultramarines, Space Marines themselves are... We're going to briefly talk about them in this video, but Space Marines themselves, especially like the individual legions and chapters, they almost warrant their own video entirely. So I'm definitely gonna teach you about them, because the boys in blue, they get memed on, they get teased a whole lot, but they are pretty good. They're pretty interesting. And Papa Smurf himself, the leader of the Ultramarines, that's what he's nicknamed. The leader is nicknamed Papa Smurf because the meme is that they are the Ultra Smurfs.
Ultra Smurfs. Okay, thanks. I'm glad to know. These guys are like what, like 8-9 feet tall. You're calling them the Ultra Smurfs?
And the guy who's been in charge of the Ultra Smurfs for the last couple centuries happened to lose like 3 of his limbs to the giant bug monsters known as Tyranids. So he got mechanical replacements and still goes out to battle.
Goddamn Tyranids. Goddamn Tyranids.
But yeah, so once we get done with the Imperium of Man video today, we should also kind of start looking into like the various alien and chaotic races that are running around, because those are also important to have some understanding. And then once we get done with that, do you want to do the aliens or the Ultramarines first?
Ultramarines first, then aliens.
Understood. All right, I'll have to start doing some research and get those notes compiled.
Roger that.
All right. But after we get done with this podcast, we want to do like another one of our non-Warhammer podcasts?
I'm not 100% sure. I think maybe what we should do is just kind of see how things go.
Yeah.
Especially because we should probably let the viewers understand that we want to make a regular schedule for uploads and stuff, but because of first Wolf's schedule and then my schedule, it's a little difficult to do that. So it's going to take some time for us to kind of get into a regular schedule of uploading things, but I promise that we're going to keep doing videos together.
All right, but my point was still, though, do you want to just take it in turns, like one Warhammer, one non-Warhammer, one Warhammer?
I think that would be a good idea, because then it kind of switches up the content a bit.
Yeah, that was my question, though.
Yeah, I did want to let you know you're kind of cutting out a bit sometimes, so I was kind of like, okay, I think I know what he said, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, internet in where I am just sucks. So so then if we're going to do like an alternating podcast thing, we should figure out what our next podcast subject is going to be. So, in the meantime, let's go ahead and get into teaching you about one of the most evil factions in Warhammer.
Yay.
So, you remember that phrase that there are no good guys in Warhammer?
Yeah, I've heard that phrase multiple times.
So, the Imperium of Man they're kind of the protagonists. They're kind of the protagonists of Warhammer, but you and I both know that protagonist and good guy do not always mean the same thing.
Yeah, entirely.
Yeah. So the Imperium is the protagonist because a lot of the focus is on them. They have, without doubt, the largest empire. The Imperium supposedly encompasses 1 million worlds in the Milky Way. Yeah. So they have a considerable amount going for them. I had some quotes here. Here we go. I'll be doing some quotes here and there because some of these are just really, really good.
Okay.
Here it is. For the Imperium. Oh, no, that's for the Custodes. Okay. We'll talk about them. So the Imperium, what you need to know is that it is an incredibly religious, incredibly superstitious, incredibly xenophobic people. So
basically, we could probably relate them to specifics from our world.
Yeah. So in the Imperium, if you do not worship the God Emperor, you are a heretic and you need to die, preferably with fire.
You are a heretic, you will die.
If you are, as a result of like genetic mutations from like pollution on your planet, which most Imperial worlds have heavy pollution, if your family has suffered genetic mutation so that you're born with like a crown of horns on your head, think like Darth Maul's horns. You are a mutant and you need to die, because how dare you be born mutant? And you're gonna die, preferably with fire.
The thing basically is, if you are unnatural, you are a heretic.
If you are at all a deviant from what is expected as a normal human, you need to die.
Wow. So you were serious about the extremely, like, they're strict. They're super strict about it.
And then if you are a non-human, if you are an alien, then as far as the Imperium is concerned, you are a filthy Xeno and you need to die. Preferably with fire.
Like, sounds like the Nazi. You don't look like us. We don't accept you. If you're like us, but you guys, we're gonna fucking kill you. If you don't believe in what we believe in, we're gonna fucking kill you. Understand that.
I have a quote. I gotta find it. Here. Where is it? Okay. So, and now it doesn't matter. Anyway, so one of the quotes that is like the big introduction to the Imperium talks about how for more than 100 centuries the Emperor of mankind has sat upon his golden throne, being fed 1,000 psyker souls every day so that he may never die. So much has been lost to the last 10,000 years. Technology has started to fail, and no one can remember how to fix it or make more of it because technology is now sacred. So if you even unscrew a light bulb without being a person like a tech priest, because that's what they're called, tech priests. If you unscrew a light bulb and replace it, you are a tech heretic, and you need to die.
So they've basically, I mean, you're saying basically their concept has been everything has a place, and if you're not a part of it, you're part of the problem.
It's more along the lines of the Imperium has taken to accept ignorance as a virtue.
Okay, then. Well, this is starting out great.
Yeah, ignorance is a virtue, so much so that anyone who has any kind of curiosity is automatically seen as with this kind of shifty look, like, what's wrong with you? Why are you curious? That doesn't seem right.
Basically, you have to be boring and unuseful, and basically useless to live.
Pretty much. So, one thing that I mentioned, and one example that I used to talk about, say that you're a regular Imperial worker, a regular Imperial citizen. You might be born on a planet that its entire purpose is making war machines, making bullets. If you're working in the factory, and say your arm gets caught in the gears, you get pulled in and pulped. Not only is the machine not going to be shut down, your replacement their first job is to clean up your mess. Specifically you. And even then, you're not going to have enough time to get it completely clean. You're just going to have enough time to get it clean enough so that you can keep working.
Damn.
And if you even dare to recommend like some safety procedures, something to protect yourself, what kind of tech heresy is that?
Wow, it sounds like the military.
A catwalk in the factory where people keep falling off, if you just take like a pipe and string it there like a safety rail, tech heresy, kill him.
Sorry, I have to move you.
Yeah.
The light is shining in my eyes.
So,
yeah. All right, here we go.
So yeah, if you like input a safety rail onto a catwalk to prevent people from falling off, that is tech heresy. You have disrespected the machine. You need to die.
Jesus Christ.
Everything sucks. And
yeah, I could tell.
And it's super feudalistic too. Like there's actual nobles in this society. But for the vast, like 99.99% of the population, the untold hundreds of trillions of people, they will live, grow up, and die in like abject poverty forever.
That's kind of awful, to be honest.
And if you are a noble, it is better, it's more cushy, but you're also facing new risks, specifically from the other nobles, because assassination is a thing.
Jesus. So it's basically what you're saying is it's a world at war with itself at all times.
It's almost like a high-tech Game of Thrones.
Okay!
But just remove...
I did not expect you to say that.
Imagine like a high-tech but somewhat gothic architecture style Game of Thrones, and then take out any sense of honor.
Okay. Okay, I can now see what you're saying. But, I mean, like I said, I'm still trying to figure everything out.
Yeah.
I hope our viewers understand still. I don't know anything about Warhammer
yeah.
40K. I'm still trying to learn.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think, okay, I think I can kind of see where this is going.
Yeah. So, as for the Imperium itself, it got established around millennia 30. So, about 28,000 years in our future.
Mm-hmm.
When we get to a video talking about like the timeline of the galaxy, you'll be able to understand a bit more, but the age of the Imperium came after a 5,000 year long period of shitstorm known as the Age of Strife.
All of your audio just cut out.
Okay, so the Imperium of Man, when it got established, came at the tail end of the Age of Strife. The Age of Strife was basically a 5,000 year long period of shitstorm.
Okay.
Imagine all of Earth. Imagine all of Earth as Mad Max.
Okay.
Now imagine that, but worse.
Oh.
Like, none of the wacky fun of Mad Max.
Can I just shoot myself now? Just be done with it?
You could.
Or is that's heresy as well?
You could try, but there is a technology known as servitors, so it's not going to help you too much.
Is it like Borderlands, where if you die, it just respawns you?
No, chances are if you just off yourself, your body will just be cybernetically augmented, your brain will be fucked around with, and your meat suit will basically be forced to do a whole bunch of shit after your death.
Man, that sucks.
Welcome to 40K!
It's like I was here for all the blood, guts, and killing and burning, and all I hear is that life sucks. It's the reason why we got all the blood, guts, and killing.
Well, funny you should mention that. We're off to the blood, guts, and killing now. So the Emperor of Mankind was a warlord on Terra at this time, and he basically was like, alright, enough is enough. Humanity by this point had expanded out to the galaxy, but it ended up getting cut off from each other. So they couldn't communicate, they couldn't trade, they couldn't do much. They were kind of confined to their worlds or their systems.
Okay.
The Emperor on Earth around millennia 25-ish, somewhere from millennia 25 to millennia 30, the Emperor basically got up and said, you know what, fuck this noise, I'm fixing shit. And thus he started bringing Earth, or Terra, under his control. After he was done unifying Earth in the Unification Wars, he immediately launched his Great Crusade. Now at this point, he had created his Primarchs, his demigod sons, and from each Primarch came the Space Marines.
Okay, so the Emperor basically said he had enough of chaos, decided he wanted to bring everything under control, and from there is where we are standing with the Space Marines.
Yeah, so he created his legions of Space Marines and his 20 demigod children to be their generals and various politicians, statesmen, and things like that.
And Magnus was one of those children? Okay.
Magnus, Dorn, you've seen TTS, we actually got a glimpse of Jagatai Khan, Lehman Russ, these are all Primarchs.
Okay.
Now,
alright, I am following 100 now.
Yeah, so when the Primarchs were still in their gestation chambers, because the Emperor created them in his labs, the Chaos Gods basically opened up a portal where they were gestating and yeeted the Primarchs across the galaxy.
Okay.
So now the Great Crusade is not only reunite humanity, it is find my fucking kids. Which he does.
Let's unite humanity and kill everything else.
So, the Emperor eventually manages to find his Primarchs. 2 of them get erased from records for some reason. We don't know why. And the Great Crusade goes on for about 200-ish years before another shitstorm, another clusterfuck that you might know of as the Horus Heresy kicked off.
And that was the one that's joked about a lot in the text-to-speech.
I think it is joked about there. Yeah, so basically Horus recruited half the Primarchs and launched a civil war against the Emperor. Horus gets Control-Alt-Deleted out of existence. The Emperor is now in an undead state on the Golden Throne, so he's not able to do anything out in the galaxy much anymore.
Damn.
And the rest of the Primarchs start kind of going their own way, seeking their own little vendettas, and 10,000 years later brings us to the modern 40K.
Jeez, that's a huge background there to fall under.
Oh yeah. This is the kind of stuff that you would normally watch several smaller videos on in order to get the pieces, and then over time they would start coming together into a cohesive whole.
I guess that makes more sense. Like, I've seen up to, like, I don't know, like episode 26 of Emperor to Text, whatever, And I started like putting things together, like starting to understand it. But like you explaining this is making things a lot easier to
Yeah,
understand.
you have
Because
a
I will
base.
say there's a lot I just don't understand.
Yeah, TTS is a bit of a joke, a bit of a parody, but it does give you a foundation that this information kind of builds upon and helps clarify. So, on to the factions. Now, I'll be talking about the factions and just a little tiny sliver of why they're popular with the fan base and why they're popular with the players and why they're good on the tabletop. Just a little bit. But mostly, each one of these factions kind of deserves their own video, which we might get to in the near future. Starting with the poster boys of 40K, the Space Marines. Now, your first introduction to them, I think, was like the Astartes videos.
Yeah, the Astartes videos we watched together.
Yeah. So you already seen roughly what the Space Marines are. They are these giant transhuman super soldiers. They're bigger, faster, stronger, and tougher than any human that you've ever seen. When I say that these guys are super soldiers, people immediately start thinking, oh, like Captain America? No. No. The freshest, greenest, youngest Astartes could bend Captain America over and make him his bitch.
I just imagine like fucking the Avengers are together and the Astartes just show up and they're like, Avengers assemble, just fucking get their asses whooped in a matter of like 20 seconds.
Well, the Hulk would definitely be able to beat up an Astartes, but here's the thing. Astartes can move so fast that people who see them, even like veteran soldiers, will just lock up. The sentiment of nothing that big should move that fast is basically how it's described. It's transhuman dread is what it's officially called.
Damn, that's freaky.
Imagine an 8-foot tall humanoid tank moving at speeds that would make Usain Bolt proud.
Oh, so we're talking about Shaq. No. Okay, I think I get it.
So, Space Marines are fast and tough enough to be able to run at near Usain Bolt. You've seen him on his records, right?
Yes.
Imagine someone running at close to those speeds for hours on end, wearing several hundred pounds of ceramic armor.
What the fuck? How heavy are, like, okay, I get the armor is probably, what, like 600, 500 pounds or something like that.
Something like that, at least.
And then the fucking soldiers themselves, how heavy do you think they are?
Well, a 6-foot tall person of around their build would probably come close to about 250 to 300 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
An 8-foot tall person with that kind of build, probably closer to about 500. Their bones and muscles are also much denser and much tougher, so probably closer to about 550, 600. And then all the extra organs that they have inside them already, adding a bit more to the weight.
Jesus Christ. Basically, you're describing the concept of superhumans to their max potential.
These guys are augmented and tough to the point where, like, Spartan 2s from Halo are comparable. So yeah,
It's like, now I know who I want to hire as my bodyguard.
thing is though, even trying to get these guys to work with you is a pain in the ass. See, modern Space Marines are divided into 1,000-man strong units called chapters.
Okay.
So these chapters, in order to even request their presence, to request their assistance, you need like signatures from the rulers of the Imperium, the High Lords of Terra, and like multiple signatures to just request their assistance. And even then, they can tell you to fuck off.
Jesus. So basically, they're great. The chances of you actually getting them on your side,
They're seen as like, it's assumed that the Space Marines are just everywhere, like, because all the lore, all the novels always feature, oh, Space Marines, they're everywhere. Space Marines, everyone knows the Space Marines. Like, no. Remember what I said that the chapters are 1,000 men strong?
How many chapters are there?
It's estimated to be about 1,000 chapters, which was actually what I was going to mention next.
It's only like, what, 100,000?
1,000 times 1,000, so 1 million.
1 million. Okay, so there's only a million out of the entire universe you're talking about.
Out of the galaxy, yeah. Here's the problem with that, though.
Yeah.
The Space Marines aren't invincible, so every chapter is not guaranteed to be at full strength.
Okay, so you're saying at this point, there's most likely not a million, probably closer to a lot less because of losses and such.
Most likely, there's never been a million Space Marines since the Great Crusade.
Okay.
At present, most chapters are lucky to bring 80% strength.
Damn.
And remember, the Imperium is supposedly a realm of a million worlds.
Yeah.
So even if they were at full strength, that's like 1 Marine per planet. That's nowhere near enough.
Okay, I'm starting to track now.
Yeah. So the Space Marines are like seen in the forefront of a lot of the war, and they're like one of the most popular armies. But there's not enough of them to deal with all the fires going on in the galaxy and all the threats that humanity faces.
Hmm.
Now, on the tabletop, though, you have a number of options to choose from.
Okay, so tabletop, you're talking about like the actual game that people play.
Yeah.
Okay.
When the legions were split off into chapters, one chapter got to keep the legion's name, color scheme, icons. They got to keep that. So the Blood Angels Legion became like the Blood Angels chapter with a bunch of other chapters that could do whatever they wanted with that stuff.
Okay, I see. That's why there's some legions that might have similar colors, but then they're not actually the same name and everything.
Yeah, so there are chapters that are kind of like that hail from the same legion. They're basically brothers to other chapters, but they just have different color schemes and different names.
Okay, that makes more sense. Like, that's why I was confused about one of the videos we watched. He's like, the Blood Angels are actually green, but then the Salamanders are green, but they're always on fire. And I was like, wait, what?
So yeah, a prime example is one of the chapters I want to talk about. One of the 9 first founding chapters is what they're called. When the Space Marine legions were first founded, that was the first founding. When they were split up into chapters, that was called the second founding.
Okay.
A prime example is, and I'm going based on the Games Workshop web store for this, because there are just too many chapters to even talk about.
Yeah, I think we'd probably be here all
day.
Year.
Yeah. So one of the legions, the Imperial Fists, of course, split off into chapters. One chapter became the Imperial Fist chapter, and those are available today. Mm-hmm. Another chapter, the Black Templars, is also available on the web store. They are so popular that they're actually at times more popular than their parent chapter.
Jeez.
We've only seen like a brief bit of the Black Templars in TTS, but as Rogel Dorn himself put it, they are absolute lunatics.
So, as you stated, the protagonist would be the Imperium of Man, but you did state to me that that does not mean that they're good guys. Mm-hmm. Is there a large amount of these factions, or should I say chapters, that are not actually good guys? They're actually like against the Man.
The ones that are against the Imperium are known as the Traitor Legions, and those are covered under like Chaos.
Okay. Like when we went over the
Death Guard.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's one of the Traitor Legions. The Traitors obviously did not split off into chapters, because why would they? However, in the last 10,000 years, there have been chapters that have been established and then turned traitor.
Yeah.
So, Imperial Fists and Black Templars, super popular. Imperial Fists are all about the siege. All about that siege, baby. So much so that when they shoot at you on the tabletop, you don't benefit from cover.
Whoa.
Like, they know fortifications that well.
God, I can't imagine what that game must be like actually sitting there trying to play that.
Oh, there are videos on YouTube that you can take a look at your own time, but Black Templars, super big on melee. Which, because they're 8 foot tall, super strong super soldiers, you might imagine that they're pretty good at this.
This makes you think of Grouse. Get the flavor. The heavy. He's got the 2 fucking, like, bear claws.
Beyond that, so we got the Imperial Fists. I'll cover the other first founding chapters as well. The Ultramarines, which we'll cover in the next Warhammer podcast. The Boys in Blue, the Ultra Smurfs. The ones with sticks so far up their asses that you can see the ends of them when they speak. Their Primarch, Rabute Gilliman, created the book that said Legions split into chapters. So he was the one who orchestrated that. As such, the Codex Astartes, what the book was called, is almost a holy text to the Ultramarines.
Jesus.
So the Ultramarines are very much all about that leadership, but also about versatility. Space Marines on the tabletop are pretty much good at everything, but certain chapters are really good at like one particular thing.
And I thought I was getting myself into... I think I'm way in over my head. I thought I was getting myself into something like, alright, it'll take me a while to understand, but this is like, here's what I thought, here's what it actually is.
So yeah, we have Imperial Fists, Ultramarines, Siege Masters, and textbook Boy Scouts.
But what are the name again? The Custodies. They're the ones that protect the Emperor, right?
The Emperor's Bodyguard. They are their own separate faction.
So, okay, so they're not... Are they technically a part of the Imperium Man, or are they their own thing?
They're technically both. So they are only answerable to the Emperor.
Okay.
So
All right, that makes sense.
So literally anyone could walk up to a Custody, and the Custodies doesn't even have to tell them to fuck off. Like, they are within their...
So they're like Lord Sidious's bodyguards.
More powerful than that. Think like, if you even want to come up there and request their presence, they don't even need to tell you to fuck off. They're within their rights to just kill you.
They'll just kill you.
So, we got the Imperial Fist, Ultramarines. We have the White Scars, who are basically Mongolian space bikers.
Mm-hmm.
Their whole thing is motorcycles, fast vehicles, fast, fast, fast. That's the whole thing.
Get fast.
I call them the Zoomy Boys of the Khan because their Primarch's name is Jagatai Khan.
It just makes me think of the scene from Texas Speech where he's like, "Here, son, I have something for you," and he gives Magnus a motorcycle.
Bike, yeah. So
and Magnus just goes off. He's like, "I'm gonna kill the children."
The next one is the Dark Angels. The Dark Angels you've also seen a little bit in TTS.
Mm-hmm.
They're all about the knightly aesthetic. They have robes on their armor. They have inner circles, like a really fucked up King Arthur's Round Table.
Alright, you cut out way too much for me to understand what you were saying.
Okay, so the Dark Angels have this knightly aesthetic. Like robes on their armor, inner circles, like a really fucked up kind of King Arthur's Round Table.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the Dark Angels. On the subject of angels, the Blood Angels, my army. So the Blood Angels are all about that melee.
All about that melee, eh?
Blood Angels also have what's called a gene seed flaw. So their Primarch's genetic material that turns them from normal humans to superhumans. Sanguinius, their Primarch. I should also mention that the Dark Angels Primarch, Lionel Johnson, is around, but he's just unconscious in their fortress monastery. But the Dark Angels don't know this. So their dad is
Seems like a pretty big plot hole there.
Their dad is in their basement, and they don't know about it.
Okay.
Blood Angels, with Sanguinius, though, their gene seed flaw, their first one, the one they've had for the longest time, is known as the Red Thirst.
Hmm.
They're basically space vampires.
Okay.
The second gene seed flaw, because fuck the Blood Angels, right? The second
Mhm.
gene seed flaw came around during the Horus Heresy when their Primarch Sanguinius got murdered. He let out a psychic death scream that gave all his kids PTSD.
Oh shit.
So every single Blood Angel and everyone who is like descended from Sanguinius, all the successive chapters, they have what's called the Black Rage. They're constantly having to wrestle their own rage under control, but they're always in like a losing battle against it, and they will, from time to time, just go fucking berserk.
So basically, just think of the Hulk, just
Think
melee, go fucking amp.
So think more like Viking berserkers, but
Mhm.
8 foot tall, and utterly with less mercy.
Okay.
Yeah, not fun.
Not fun.
On the subject. Oh, hold on. All right, we just got disconnected. So
What happened?
I think we got disconnected.
Okay. Well,
Alright.
sorry about that.
No problem. So we mentioned how the Blood Angels, when they go Black Rage, basically become like Viking berserkers.
Mhm.
On the subject of Vikings, the Space Wolves.
Yeah.
The Space Wolves are basically, they look like 8 foot tall Vikings in high tech armor with like Hugh Jackman haircuts.
What?
Hugh Jackman Wolverine style haircuts across the board for them.
So basically, just okay. I'm sitting here like, wow, that's really random.
Yeah, they look like wolves too. They also have an interesting gene seed flaw.
Yeah, and what's that?
It's called the wolfen.
I'm gonna
You
try
met-
to move me because the internet's all jacked up. So hang on a second.
All right. Well, while doing that, I'll continue with this.
Okay.
The wolfen, the Blood Angels become space vampires. And as you know, where there are vampires, there has to be something else.
Okay.
Space Wolves' gene seed flaw turns them into space werewolves.
Okay. There we go. I'm into a different room, so I should have better internet connection.
Yeah, so the wolfen turns space wolves into space werewolves.
Okay.
And these guys look like straight from the Wolfman. It is ridiculous.
All right. So they actually look like you're what we're thinking of as Wolfman.
Yeah. So that's the space wolves. They're also really big into melee. Their whole thing is like super melee.
Wasn't there like some sort of joke that like the custodians had where it's like they don't want to talk to the Emperor about the specific race because they don't like melee?
That's the Tau, yeah.
Yeah. It's like they won't melee. It's like, wait, what? I want to destroy these fucking people.
Yeah. So the other 3 founding chapters are the Iron Hands. These guys, their whole concept is the flesh is weak and the machine is perfect.
That's weird. I can still hear it. I'm turning on lights.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, the Iron Hands will literally saw off their own limbs and replace them with prosthetics.
Jesus Christ.
Space Wolves, Primarch, Lehman Russ. You've already seen him in TTS.
Mm-hmm.
Primarch of the Iron Hands. This guy, you're gonna laugh at the triple level layer of lazy here. His name is Ferrus Manus.
Ferrus Manus.
You know your Latin well enough to know roughly what those words mean.
Uh.
Oh, it gets even better. So Ferris, at one point in his infancy, when he emerged from his pod, fought this giant mechanical monster and eventually killed it. But in doing so, his arms got coated in living metal.
Oh shit!
So we have Ferris Manus, whose name means Iron Hands, with Iron Hands leading the Iron Hands.
Talk about irony at its best, am I right?
Irony!
Irony, my friends, let's go!
No, it's not irony, it's Iron E.
Oh, you. If you ever become a dad, you're gonna be the best dad jokes ever.
Okay, then we have the Sneaky Boys. So the Iron Hand are all about machines, mechanics. It's so prevalent that when you hit them on the tabletop, they can roll. If they roll a d6, and on a 6, they don't take the damage.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the Salamanders.
Okay, so I know about the salamanders a bit.
Okay, so what you need to know about the Salamanders, though, is this. They also have a gene seed flaw. It's not as extreme as the Blood Angels or Space Wolves, though. What it does is, when you get implanted with Salamander's gene seed, you or I, we would look like this beforehand, but at the end, our skin would be pitch black, have a coal-like texture, and our eyes would be bright red.
You know what that makes me think of?
Huh.
Sith. Red eyes, messed up skin.
Yeah. Also, the Salamanders are all blacksmiths. Pun intended.
Wow, the name doesn't fit well.
So, all the Salamanders are blacksmiths as well. So that means that their armor is really good. So on the tabletop, they can actually kind of resist certain weapons that could normally pierce armor.
Mm-hmm.
And also from TTS, you know that they're really big into fire.
Mm-hmm.
And now we get on to the Sneaky Boys, the Raven Guard.
Okay.
The Raven Guard, with Primarch Corvus Corax,
Mm-hmm.
They're all about stealth, infiltration, get behind enemy lines and fuck with them. Like, they are so good at stealth that they could be out in the open on the tabletop. On the tabletop, they're out in the open. As long as they're 18 inches away from whoever's attacking them,
Yeah.
it's the equivalent of trying to hit them when they're crouching behind something.
Jesus, just imagine basically an entire legion of Splinter Cell.
Beyond that, there are 2 others from the web store. And these ones are kind of interesting and kind of unique as well. We have the Grey Knights, who are basically all psychers.
Okay.
The Grey Knights kind of serve as the military of one of the Inquisition's main branches.
Okay.
So the Inquisition has 3 branches: the Ordo Haraartes, the Ordo Xenos, and the Ordo Malleus. The Ordo Malleus focuses on demons, and the Grey Knights are kind of like their militant arm.
Alright.
So yeah, the Grey Knights, masters of demon killing.
Masters of Demon Killing. Okay, I got it.
The Ordo Xenos of the Inquisition, they also have a Space Marine group that serves as their military. In the last Space Marine group, the Death Watch.
Okay.
The Death Watch are not one chapter. They pull the best and brightest from all the chapters and put them in this mixing pot, this hodgepodge of squads. And they train them to kill aliens.
Jesus. God, I wish I feel like our military could take something away from this.
The Death Watch is basically the special forces of the special forces.
Special forces of the special forces.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you guys were good enough to kill these teddy bears with sticks, we wouldn't have to be here. That's all I can think about when you said that.
But beyond that, Space Marines are like the most popular army in Warhammer.
Okay, yeah, I think... You know what I do think we need to do as well? Because we've talked about We talked about, the demons a bit. We
Yeah.
talked about now we're talking about the Imperium of Man and the
Yeah.
Supermarine and the Space Marines. We need to talk about the orcs at some point.
Well, that's going to be in the alien video.
Okay, so we're gonna do that in an alien video. All right.
Yeah, all the alien races. There are more chapters of Space Marines than there are alien races to talk about.
All right.
But on the tabletop, they're the most popular because they're really powerful. They're really competitive. But let's go ahead and shift over to the next faction. Another really popular one. The Imperium, the Imperium's Astra Militarum, the Imperial Guard.
Imperial Guard.
So, remember how I said that the Space Marines are too few in number to really deal with all the situations in the galaxy? Most of the conflict is taken care of by the Guard.
Okay, so the Space Marines are basically just special forces in this sense. The Imperium actually has its own army that takes care of things itself.
Yeah. The Imperial Guard is the uncounted hundreds of trillions of soldiers.
Wow. That's a lot.
So, before I finish with the Space Marines, though, let me go ahead and tell you this quote. This is one of my favorite quotes in Warhammer. They shall be my finest warriors. These men who give of themselves to me, like clay I shall mold them, and in the furnace of...
What keeps going on?
I think my internet is just not strong enough to handle something as complex as multiple devices.
Damn.
So,
Do you want to do something? Maybe we can stop this and maybe just continue it another time?
It wouldn't make any difference.
Ah, shit.
But yeah. Let me go ahead and finish reading this quote.
Okay.
They shall be my finest warriors, these men who give of themselves to me, like clay I shall mold them, and in the furnace of war I shall forge them. They shall be of iron will and steely sinew. In great armor I shall clad them, and with the mightiest weapons shall they be armed. They will be untouched by plague or disease. No sickness shall blight them. They shall have such tactics, strategies, and machines that no foe will best them in battle. They are my bulwark against the terror. They are the defenders of humanity. They are my Space Marines, and they shall know no fear. From the Emperor of Mankind.
Damn, dude.
Pretty epic, isn't it?
Pretty fucking awesome, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So, on the Imperial Guard, where is it? Yeah, it's not. I didn't get that quote. But basically, the Imperial Guard, in a lot of the artwork, you get to see them. In like the super big battles, they are calling upon regiments of 500,000 soldiers, 50,000 tanks, almost as many artillery batteries. This is the faction for like the World War II history nuts. This is the one that they love. And it's just regular dudes.
Is this the Death Guard?
No.
Okay.
Death Guard is the traitor Space Marine Legion.
Okay. Okay, yeah, then that's what you were talking about originally. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Death Guard, traitor Space Marines. Imperial Guard, just regular people. Regular dudes. And these dudes are equipped with the lasgun. Think of it like a blaster.
Yeah.
So this thing fires lasers of plasma. Incredible distance, incredible speed with remarkable accuracy.
Yeah.
The lasgun is powered by basically these rechargeable battery packs. You put them onto a recharging station, they recharge. They have a solar panel on them, so you put them in the sunlight, they recharge. You put them near a fire, they recharge. You're in a pinch, you chuck that bitch into the fire, it recharges. The lasgun has almost no moving parts as well, so you can stick, so it never jams. You can stick this thing in mud, bury it in sand, bash someone over the head with it, and it will still work perfectly fine. until finally it needs like replacement parts.
Okay.
It is able to blow off limbs, destroy human torsos in a single shot, punch holes into concrete. It is
They're
incredibly
very
powerful.
effective.
Yeah, it's powerful to us. On the tabletop and in the lore, it is one of the weakest guns in existence. It is so weak. Okay, you probably don't remember this, but at one point the Emperor talks about in TTS our flashlight guys.
Yeah.
The las gun is nicknamed the Flashlight because of how weak it is.
It's called a flashlight. You're describing this amazing piece of tech, and they literally call it. It's like a flashlight.
Pretty much, because against the threats in the galaxy, you might as well shine a flashlight on something.
Oh my god.
So,
Goddamn.
so what makes it super popular though, as a faction to play, is that much like the Space Marines, there's options.
Mm-hmm.
So in every army, you can have like infantry as your base, or you might want to have vehicles and some armor, or you might want to have like artillery. The Imperial Guard, you can mix and match all this shit as you will, and they're super cheap.
Okay, so what you're saying is basically with the Imperial Guard, you have the ability to be more strategic and basically more diverse on your equipment.
Key word there, strategic, because Space Marines, they can rely on like brute force to get things done. The Imperial Guard, that's just regular dudes. You can't brute force shit. You have to,
I see what you're saying.
you have to be a strategic mind in order to play the Guard well. And then on top of that, the Guard has specific regiments. They're like chapters of Space Marines with things that they do best.
So you're saying the Guard has chapters basically as well?
Yeah, I'm not going to go too far into them. There needs to be like an entire Guard video to talk about all of them.
I'm down for that because that sounds fun to me.
So, like, the most popular, the most common that you see today is the Cadian Shock Troopers. These are the ones that look sort of like Starship Trooper guys.
Yeah.
They're really good for infantry. They're really good with shooting. You have the Catachan Jungle Fighters. And these are the guys who all look like Rambo.
Oh my god.
They're really good at melee.
You're good at melee! Here we go again!
Okay, so, quick side note. Catachan Jungle Fighters do not wear the armor that the rest of the Guardsmen wear, but they're still as tough as the Guardsmen. Okay. They're so muscular that their own pecs work as flak armor.
What?
For Siege, you have the Death Corps of Krieg, who are like World War I Germans. And their whole thing is, they're willing to march at machine gun nests if ordered to do so.
Mm.
If you want vehicles, you have the Armageddon Steel Legion. Okay. I'm going to see if I can find it, because this is something that you need to see.
Alright, well, I'm going to hit the restroom real quick and I'll be right back.
Alright.
Alright, I'm back.
Alright, so I can't find the actual image, but there was an image that I saw a while ago where it was basically like this army vehicle making like a fishtail and this one guy just leaping off with a caption that read, either "Death before dismount" or "Doors are for pussies." And the reason I bring this up is because Armageddon Steel Legion, what I imagine is that the Armageddon Steel Legion, they're riding in like this giant troop transport, and they're barreling towards an orc stronghold. The troop transport is basically like this big rectangular box, and the sergeant of the guard in there is just like, hyping up his soldiers. There's one guy who clambers to the top, and he's just standing there. This transport slams into the front gate of the orc stronghold, busts through. The guy on top leaps forward like that, death before dismount. The vehicle hasn't even stopped moving yet, and the front ramp was already starting to skid on the ground. the guards, the Steel Legion rushing out, blasting everything in sight. They get done. They chuck some grenades, blow up some infrastructure, hop back into the vehicle, pull out, and the driver decides just to fuck with the orcs and show off. He's doing like donuts with his giant tank-sized motherfucking vehicle. And as he's driving away, you just see like 20 middle fingers coming out of the open top of this vehicle, flipping the orcs off as it drives off.
It's like the definition of stealth is optional for this mission.
That's what I imagine with the Armageddon Steel Legion. That's like a scenario that happened in my head that I could not get out. It was just too perfect to not bring to your attention.
Oh my god, dude, that's so fucking good. All I could think in my head was that picture of the girl holding the stealth is optional for this mission.
Yeah, and as they drop... you ever see Robin Hood Men in Tights?
Yeah.
You know that one prison scene where the hands come up and they're just like flipping off the guy as he passes? It's basically that as they drive away.
God damn it, dude.
But Imperial Guard, super popular because it's just like the everyman. It's just like the normal dudes.
Yeah.
So now we're going to talk about a faction that you were asking about earlier. The Adeptus Custodes.
Yes!
Okay.
I am very interested in them.
Okay, so here's what you need to know about the Adeptus Custodes. So the Space Marines, they are children of Primarchs. They are super soldiers, super powerful. The Custodes are descendants of the various warlords that the Emperor conquered during the Unification Wars before the Great Crusade.
Okay, so they're older.
They're the descendants of those people. But when they were being augmented, they weren't given Primarch genetics, they were given the Emperor's genetics.
Oh.
Okay. A single Space Marine could easily take on a platoon... Huh?
Shit.
Okay. So a single Space Marine could take on a platoon of modern-day soldiers barehanded.
Okay.
A Custode could take on 3 to 4 Space Marines, no problem.
Barehanded?
Probably.
Ooh, shit.
Here's a quote from the Custodes.
Basically, you're saying the Custodians could probably take a battalion of normal soldiers with barehanded without even trying.
They would probably need some weapons, but they could definitely do it if the need arose. So,
okay.
From a custodian named Tiberius Constor. For 100 years I stood my watch amidst the somber shadows of the Sanctum Imperialis. I was still as a statue, but always ready, always attuned to dangers unseen. Days, months, years passed by in a frenzied blur beyond these walls. Yet within little moved and nothing changed. For 100 years I did not but wait. Yet had any threat appeared, I would have struck it down in a heartbeat. For 100 years I stood my watch, and as it ends I can tell you this, patience is a weapon.
Damn.
So that guy literally stood there, unmoving, 24/7, for 100 years.
Jeez. That makes me think of like the soldier who marches on the tomb, the unmarked tomb or grave.
Yeah, but this isn't like no. This is the guy who was just standing there by himself, not eating, not sleeping, not drinking, not moving, barely breathing, for 100 years.
Jesus! Wow.
And he walked away from his post when he was relieved, perfectly fine. Custodes, okay, Space Marines are nigh immortal. We've never seen a Space Marine die of old age. Mm-hmm. And we have and the chapter master of my army, the Blood Angels, in the lore, he's held his position for 1,100 years.
Damn!
And he was a captain before that. So he was at least like 300 to 400 years old before he became chapter master. So he is at least a millennia and a half old.
Jesus.
Custodes, They are immortal. Period.
So they're just immortal. They'll live forever.
Yes.
Okay.
But the moment, age does kind of affect their minds, but they will never really die. But the moment that they feel their skill, their attention, their sharpness drop by even a fraction of a percent, they retire.
Yeah.
They retire. They surrender their weapons and armor, and they go off.
All right.
Sorry.
Okay, no problem. But yeah, the moment they feel even a fraction of slippage from the razor keen edge that they are, they surrender their weapons and armor, they throw on a cloak, and they become an eye of the Emperor. They basically become like a spy wandering the galaxy, reporting back potential threats.
Okay, so basically they must be at 100% to protect the Emperor. And the second that they feel that they are not at 100% anymore, then they just basically go and do the Emperor's bidding in some other way.
Yeah.
So they're still technically the Emperor's soldiers.
Yeah. They are known as the Emperor's Legion.
Okay, so they're still part of the Legion.
Oh, they were never Space Marines, and the idea of one of the Emperor's sons trying to tell the Custodes what to do, once again, it was like, the Custodes didn't even need to tell him to fuck off. He knew he was going to waste his time even trying that. But, yeah. So, Custodes, what else do we have here? Yeah, truly immortal. They're unflinchingly loyal.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There are actually like little groups of Custodes that are kind of like chapters in their own right. I'm not going to talk too much about them because there's only a few of them, and they can be like their own video. On a tabletop, though, so Imperial Guard is like quantity is the quality. Custodes is like quality over quantity. There's not many models, but they are very powerful.
So it's okay. So it's the flip. I got it.
Yeah. All right. You know D&D. You roll a dice to try and hit someone.
Yeah.
All right. Warhammer works the same way. You roll a dice and see if you hit someone. For guardsmen, for regular Imperial Guard, they will hit on a 4 or an up. So they got a 50-50 shot. Space Marines, they shoot on a 3 up. So they got a 66% shot. Custodes hit on a 2 up.
That's 80%?
At least. So the only way they miss is if they roll a critical failure. And even then, there are like aura abilities that can allow them to reroll ones.
That is so overpowered.
You have no idea.
I don't.
They are one of the most powerful armies around.
Okay.
But yeah, that's enough about them. Now, I don't know about you, but this is starting to feel a bit like a sausage fest. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the lovely ladies of 40K, shall we?
Yes.
Let's talk about the Adepta Sororitas, the Sisters of Battle.
Okay, I think I've heard their names before.
Yeah, so the Sisters of Battle, there are 2 nicknames that they have that I feel are, to varying degrees, fitting. The first nickname is Bolter Bitches.
Mm-hmm.
That one I don't think is super fitting, but it is still somewhat fitting. The more descriptive name, Nuns with Guns.
Nuns with guns. I like it.
Because that's what they are. The Adepta Sororitas, the Sisters of Battle, are an all-female group. They are basically the military of the Church. And the only reason that they are allowed to be the Church's military is because the Church is not allowed to have, and I quote, any men under arms.
Hey, I get it.
The Church is no longer allowed to have men fighting for them. The Sisters of Battle are just a legal loophole around that.
Yeah.
So, they are super religious. Like, they are so religious that they can literally manifest miracles. So, because there are gods in 40K, prayer has power. And they are
Okay.
so fanatical. They are so fanatical that they can actually manifest miracles around them.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is, like, their prayer, if they pray, something might actually happen.
Exactly.
But also, something physical might actually happen. Something you can see. Okay, that's what I was saying.
We're talking a miracle like people will get healed by simply being near the Sisters of Battle.
Jeez, that is awesome.
Sisters of Battle are also sometimes made into what are called living saints. So basically, the Emperor sends a little bit of his power into this Sister of Battle and turns her into a literal motherfucking angel. Wings and all. She becomes immortal. She becomes able to fly. She becomes able to cast holy fire around herself.
What have I got myself into?
Here, okay, a quote from Canoness Sabine of the Order of Our Martyred Lady.
Mm-hmm.
These heretics refute the Emperor's holy right to rule. Let them argue with the barrel of a gun.
Jeez.
There are many orders of Sisters of Battle as well. Again, sort of like chapters. They have their own kind of little rules, kind of things. One of their battle tanks is a fucking pipe organ. Their battle tank is a pipe organ that shoots rockets. One of their heavy support units is literally a funeral procession. Like, literally there's a dead body in the middle of this funeral procession, and that's one of their units on the tabletop.
Damn.
They drop churches out of orbit, land them on the planet, and that's how they use, and that's their dropship.
So wait. They are also a usable group on the tabletop as well, is what you're saying.
They are also a very powerful army as well.
Okay, so are they kind of, would you put them on the same level as the Space Marines?
Yes.
Or would you? Okay.
Yes. Yes, I would.
Okay.
No hesitation on that one. They are remarkably powerful, and if you know how to use them well, they can dominate the fight.
That's pretty crazy, to be honest.
Yeah. Not much more to say about them. Some of their models are joked about as being very ugly. Like, they have... I think one of their models, when you paint it just right, almost looks like Samuel L. Jackson with like a platinum blonde bob cut wig.
Yeah.
Not exactly an attractive lady.
Well,
huh?
I was gonna say, as much as I think as we should continue the topic upon the Imperium of Man, you're cutting out so bad, and you've been cutting out so bad for the last 20 minutes, I think there's really not much I can do. I think we kind of need to take a step back and reevaluate everything with this, because I cannot understand everything you're saying.
I don't know what good that'll do, though. Let me see if I can't clean up something over on this and try and free up a bit more RAM.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to think what else I might be able to... maybe... I'm going to shut off the Wi-Fi on my phone, too. Maybe that'll direct a little bit towards it.
Alright.
Because we are about halfway done now anyway.
We're about halfway done, you said?
Easily, if not more.
Alright.
The next faction is even quicker to go through.
Okay.
So the next faction is also an all-female organization, the Sisters of Silence.
Okay, I have heard a little bit of them.
Yeah. So, in humanity, there's a gene that can sometimes manifest. It's called the pariah gene.
Mm-hmm.
The way it works is every soul has a presence in the warp.
You've explained that to me.
Yeah, the pariah, on the other hand, has like an inverse soul.
Oh.
Their soul almost looks like a black hole on the warp. Normal people feel uncomfortable around them. Psychers feel pain around them.
Ooh. Why would that be, though?
Psychers draw upon the warp, and the pariahs basically are anti-warp beacons.
Okay.
So it's basically like someone getting severed from their magic.
Alright.
So normal people hate pariahs. They hate blanks, as they're called. The Custodes, though, they recruit them. The Custodes don't have psychers. So when it comes to like a psychic threat or a demonic threat, they have to rely upon their physical abilities. The Sisters of Silence, however, because they're anti-psychers, they can weaken a psyker or a demon by simply being there.
Wow.
So the Sisters of Silence work with the Custodes as like protectors, and oftentimes in paired groups from time to time in order to weaken psychic threats, and then have the Custodes cut them down.
Damn.
Yeah.
God, this is... I mean, that's just... I mean, I'm trying to think, like... Trying to, like... visualize it mentally, and then, like, try to compare it to something I know of.
Yeah.
That's really crazy, honestly.
Let's talk about something you probably have come across. You ever heard of the term body horror?
No.
Think Hellraiser.
Okay.
And now we're going to talk about the Adeptus Mechanicus, and keep the Hellraiser thing in mind.
Okay, there's that transition.
Yeah. So the Adeptus Mechanicus, they are a Mars-based organization. That's where they were first started.
Okay.
They are all about that body horror. Remember how the Iron Hands will saw off their limbs and replace them with machines? Mechanicus did it first. And they do it religiously.
Oh.
So the Mechanicus are kind of heretical to the Imperium because they worship something called the Omnissiah.
The Omnissiah is what you said it was?
Yeah. The Omnissiah is basically the Messiah of the machine god.
Okay.
Now, you might be thinking the Imperium would hate the Mechanicus because you're worshiping a different god. You're not worshiping the god Emperor.
Okay.
Here's the thing, though. The Mechanicus makes all your shit.
They make everything?
They are the China of 40k universe.
Oh, great. I'm so happy to hear that.
They make the guns. They make the ammunition. They make the ships. So if you tell the Mechanicus to fuck off, you're got nothing to wage your war.
Okay.
Here's an example. You remember how I mentioned that you would get shot if you replaced a light bulb?
Yeah.
Here's how a tech priest will replace a light bulb. Walks in, looks at the dead bulb, burns some incense, douse yourself with holy oil while singing the sermon of replacing the light bulb.
What?
Do the same process when you're opening up the ladder so you can reach the light bulb. Burn more incense while you're reciting the hymn of unscrewing the light bulb.
What the fuck?
Recite it in reverse. The hymn of screwing the light bulb in, while also burning the incense.
What the fuck, man?
Here's the problem, though. Here's what's fucked up. It
What
works.
is wrong with these things?
They're technophiles. They worship technology. And it fucking works. They believe that every machine has a machine spirit.
So basically, they're like those people who are like, before they kill their animals that they have, they're like, they say a prayer for the animal and then they kill it.
More along the lines of, if you want to go somewhere, You have to get in front of your car, get on your knees, clap your hands together, and pray to that car. You have to pray to the car to appease its machine spirit so that it will run. You have to pray to your toaster so that it works right. You have to pray to your cell phone before you use it.
That's fucked up, man.
And the thing is, it works. That's the problem.
Sorry.
No problem. It fucking works. That's the weird part. They have these machines that are basically like chicken leg walkers.
Yeah.
They never turn them off. Because the person who figured out how to turn them on died, the mechanicus is so afraid that if they turn them off, they'll never turn on again.
Okay, so that's where a more religious concept comes in. I get it.
So they keep these things running on a treadmill 24/7, 365 until they're needed.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Scientific advancement, scientific experimentation, forbidden. Not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to try and figure things out because all knowledge is already there. You just need to find it. You want to try and experiment with something? You want to try and innovate? Heretic!
You are a heretic.
But God, it is ridiculous. God Emperor, it is so ridiculous.
Yeah, it sounds ridiculous.
Oh, but if you want ridiculous, let's talk about the Imperial Knights, and by extension, the Titans.
What?
Okay, so the Titans and the Imperial Knights work pretty close with the Mechanicus, for good reason. So, Imperial Knights, I'm going to try and find this, where is it? Okay, here we go. Imperial Knights are basically like giant mech suits. They have big-ass guns, big-ass chainsaw swords, and they fight other big-ass mechs.
Okay. Are they bigger than Space Marines?
A Space Marine would barely come up to this thing's shin.
What? Like, great, we got a whole bunch of Iron Giants running around.
Oh, you have no idea. Okay, I have some notes here for it. When it comes to Titans, and Titans and Imperial Knights kind of similar but different as well. The Titans are like the more popular one, I think. The smallest, the Scout class of Titans is called it's called the Warhound. It's 45 feet. It's 45 feet tall.
What's the tallest?
The largest is the Imperator class at 182 feet tall.
Jesus.
To put that into perspective for you, you remember in Ghostbusters 2 when the Statue of Liberty was brought to life?
Yeah.
The Statue of Liberty is about 150 feet tall.
So it's even bigger than that.
The Statue of Liberty is about 300 feet tall if you include the pedestal that it stands on, but yeah, the statue itself is 150 feet.
Holy shit.
Their machine guns on the Titans shoot bullets the size of small cars. Their chainsaw swords, their chain swords, the teeth on them are about as tall as a human.
Jesus.
The Titans are protected by these energy shields that can absorb tank fire for hours. And on the tabletop, you can only field like a couple of these things at one time.
They're extremely powerful.
I didn't know how you would kill Mortarion on the tabletop. I have no fucking idea how you would kill a Titan on the tabletop.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Speaking of which.
Speaking of factions with not too many models, let's talk about the Officio Assassinorum.
Okay.
So the Officio Assassinorum was another thing that Malcador the Sigillite created. In modern day, as you might imagine from the name, assassins. Modern day, there are 4 temples, the 4 main temples that assassins can be pulled from in order to do missions around the galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
The main temples are the Vindicare Temple, which are the snipers.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking a sniper who will sit in a position for weeks, months, just sitting there. And he'll shoot someone 3 zip codes over.
Jeez.
Like, you're on the other end of the time zone and he'll shoot you.
Okay, that's a little overkill if you ask me.
Next up is the Calidus Temple. These are all about disguise. They actually have a drug that allows their users to shapeshift somewhat. They can impersonate orcs. Like their bodies,
orcs.
yeah, their bodies can be morphed and manipulated so that they look like orcs.
Damn. That'd be really good for missions against the orcs.
Not always, because the orcs kind of have like a psychic sense for that kind of shit.
Okay, yeah, you're right. The orcs do have their psychics.
Yeah. The Calidus are super subtle. The Eversor are not. The Eversor assassins are basically taken in, they're drugged up and hypnotized like crazy. These motherfuckers are murder lust in human form. Like, you know the phrase murder boner?
I'm not really sure.
So, the phrase murder boner does not begin to describe the Eversor. They're so dangerous that they have to be kept in cryosleep when they're not in use.
What the fuck?
And the way that they're deployed, they're basically taken off the wall. They have a screen inside their chamber, in their little capsule, that kind of flashes like these hypno screens at them, so that they know who they're trying to kill. And then, still frozen, mind you, they're launched at the planet, in the vague area their target is. And how okay, you know the logic of the guards can't see you if there are no guards?
Yeah.
That's the Eversor in a nutshell. The Eversor assassin is just going to murder every living thing that it comes across until it finds its target and kills it.
Okay.
It will butcher every man, woman, child, and animal until it finds its target and kills them.
Holy shit.
And if you manage to put this fucker down, oh well, so sorry for you, because the organs and implants that it has, when it dies, causes it to explode like a mini nuke.
Oh my god. So it's basically like a super amped up predator.
Pretty much.
Damn.
Oh, but now let's talk about the really scary one.
There's more?
There's one that is feared by the other temples.
Okay. I'm listening.
Okay. Sisters of Silence. Blank Gene, right? You remember that?
Yeah.
The Caluxus Temple also takes the pariahs, and it weaponizes the Blank Gene, and gives them equipment to boost their Blank Gene. A normal pariah makes a person uncomfortable and makes a psyker feel a headache, a really bad headache.
Yeah.
A Caluxus, in seeing distance of a psyker, Imagine taking 2 fire alarms, placing them on either end of your head, and having them blare at full volume.
Jesus.
No, my bad. That's a normal human's reaction. A psyker will claw out their own eyes, rip out their own throat.
So it'll mentally kill them.
It will make them beg for death rather than be near these things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's some artwork that I found of like a demonic-looking creature literally just bursting into flame because a Calyxus happens to be nearby.
Jesus.
They are feared by the other assassins.
That's crazy. I mean, you already explained these assassins are like super powerful. You know, at this point, I'm kind of sitting here like wondering to myself, why am I like surprised anymore? Like this just does. It just keeps getting crazier and crazier every second.
The thing with Warhammer is that it goes from impressive to scary to insane, and then circles right back around and just becomes hilarious at this point.
Yeah.
So
well,
now there's one last
I was gonna
faction.
say. Yeah. I was gonna say. The factions you've told me so far, I have to say that the one that still interests me the most is the Custodes.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about them, because I did learn a little bit about them, especially for tabletop, whenever I first started getting into it.
Yeah.
But these assassins you just started talking about, you're really piquing my interest here, brother.
I think, okay, so the thing with, like, the Imperial armies, you can field an army with, like, Custodes and also some assassins as well.
Dude, I think that might be how I'd probably go.
But they're only, like, one model for each temple, though, so not much in the way of options there, but definitely viable.
Okay. Alright, so what is his last faction?
The Inquisition themselves.
Oh, God.
So there are 2 things that I want to start with. I tried to find this, but I cannot find it. But apparently the inquisitorial motto, I believe it goes, Innocentia nihil probat. Innocence proves nothing.
You're a heretic, even if you prove you're not a heretic.
They are... That is... I've tried to find where that is, but... yeah, apparently that's like the Inquisition's motto. Just because you're innocent, that doesn't prove anything. The Inquisition are basically the secret police. And they can do pretty much whatever the fuck they want. With whoever they want. And the only people who can reprimand them are higher ranked Inquisitions.
So the highest Inquisition, if they're okay with everything going on, it doesn't matter.
An Inquisitor can only be reprimanded by an Inquisitor of a higher rank. And even then, it requires a lot of evidence.
So then they basically just don't care.
Pretty much. Thing is, though, you have to be very careful when you're talking with them, because like I said, they can literally just walk up to someone in broad daylight, shoot them in the face, and continue on, and law enforcement is not legally allowed to do anything.
That's fucked up.
And I mentioned earlier how they have like 3 main branches, but there's also a bunch of other side branches. There's the Haraartes, who deal with heretics. So in the case of, say, like a cardinal, a religious person who decides, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and create a big old armed uprising. The Haraartes is going to be interested in that. The Ordo Xenos. Oh, look at that. The orcs are kind of encroaching on our territory there. That's what they're focused on. The Ordo Malleus. Yeah, there's some Slaneshi demons butt-fucking everyone on this planet.
What the fuck, man?
Yeah. The Ordo Malleus will handle anything demonic or chaotic in nature. Like the Officio Assassinorum, there's not many models, but I think that in regards to the tabletop, they're more for like the leadership stuff. So they're the ones who are able to keep armies from running away and getting scared.
All right.
Now, I did mention, we did decide that that's the last of the factions, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I did mention, we did talk about how the next Warhammer podcast we want to do is the Ultramarines.
Yes.
I cannot wait until we get to the Guard, because the Guard have some of the most badass, hardcore motherfuckers as their named characters.
Okay.
I want to talk about this one guy, but we're already about an hour and a half in. We'll save it for the Guard episode.
All right. I think that's a good time. I mean, we started this at like what, like I don't know, like 4:50. We're already at 6:07.
Yeah, we're started around 4:30.
All right, so we've been about an hour and some odd.
Yeah, about an hour and a half apparently. So yeah, that was the.
Well, I'll tell you, you definitely gave me some things to go ahead and go look up. I'll definitely take my time to kind of go and read around a bit about the Imperium of Man.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, you just telling me all this, like a lot of the like text-to-speech and other things I've heard, you basically literally just tied a whole bunch of things together for me.
Text-to-speech gave you a foundation. I'm kind of putting the frames up.
Okay. Well, I would like to say that was definitely it was definitely interesting. I do want to apologize to the viewers for any issues we're having with like internet and going back and forth and hearing each other. Like I said, Wolf has just got really shitty internet, and we're trying to get a lot of things figured out. Yeah. I promise at some point our videos are going to get better quality, better internet, just better everything. Yeah. Just give us some time.
Yeah, my internet provider has been pointing out that there's a bunch of stuff going on that is slowing down internet for everyone involved. But for right now, yeah, that was the factions of the Imperium of Man. And then the next Warhammer podcast, we will talk about the Ultra Smurfs.
The Ultra Smurfs! Yeah!
But I'll have to see if I can find it, but I think there's like some actual photos floating around of someone who made Ultramarines, but with like Smurfs heads.
I'd love to see that picture of it.
I would too. I'm going to try and find it. But yeah, the Imperium of Man factions. Imperium is kind of fucked up at times, but I like to think that I kind of presented this in a somewhat entertaining manner.
Yeah, I would say so myself. As the one who's sitting here laughing.
But apparently, you and Henry Cavill also have something in common.
Uh-huh.
Have you seen Henry Cavill's tweets during 2020?
No, I have not.
Henry Cavill posted a tweet about him painting his Custodes.
Oh.
So you and Henry Cavill have an interest in the same army.
Well, I think we should go ahead and call it for the day.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and do the usual spiel. Do you have anything else to put out?
I do want to say to the viewers that I'm currently working on my own to try to see if I can get videos put on the channel, but just like I said, due to current issues, we're still trying to figure everything out. And me and Wolf are trying to work on putting up some videos of us actually playing video games together, but that's also, there's just a lot of stuff to work through. We're getting it figured out. So I will be looking forward to getting videos to you guys soon, but also just want to let you all know, me and Wolf are both going through some time right now where we're going to be very busy, so you might not see a lot of videos going up in the next month. So I just thought I'd let you guys know that.
Yeah. Real life stuff kind of takes precedence at times, but we are going to try and keep putting content out. But with that said, I'll get the spiel out of the way and we'll close this podcast. If you like this podcast, indicate so down below. If you have suggestions for future videos or even future podcast episodes, drop them in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to stay up to date with our uploads. I think we should also put to some the viewers whether or not they have some subjects for us to do podcasts on.
Yes, me and Wolf want to try to do a podcast where we just talk about random things, just like things we can just come up with. So if you guys have any like actual like topics we should talk about, just go ahead and put it down in the description. We'll take a look at comments. Honestly, we're looking at it all the time to make sure we're looking at what you guys are good with, what you guys don't like,
Keeping track
so
of
we
the
can make some
interactions,
changes.
yeah. Yeah, we're keeping track of all the interactions, making sure that everything's going smoothly.
All right.
But I think that about covers it.
Yep. I'm Axel Reaper.
Alpha White Wolf,
Signing out.
signing off.